It has been a minute and it's good to be back. So today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Robbins. And we're actually going to be trying to figure out some habits to change your life for the better, because quite frankly, some crazy times right now. You've probably been feeling it, I've been feeling it, and anything that can help you feel better on a regular basis is worth looking into. So let's dive into Tony Robbins and what he's got to say.
People come to me all the time and they'll come to me like this and they'll go, I don't know what it is. I just feel down all the time. Why do you think I feel that way? Someone say, I feel so up. Why do you think I feel so up all the time? I don't know what it is, but for some reason, I'm angry all the time. Do we get in habits of using our body, our face in a certain way over and over again? Yes or no? Once you're in that state, you'll behave in a way that creates more of that emotion.
This is 100% the truth. Anytime that I'm ready to give a speech or anything like that, beforehand, I get out there and I jump up and down, I bang my chest. I make sure that I'm communicating a lot with all of the people backstage beforehand so that I go on and it looks like I can turn it on. But quite frankly, I started turning it on 5-10 minutes prior so that when I hit that moment where I need to perform, and for you, this can be an interview, this might be a date that you're going on. One of the things that you can do if you find yourself in a situation where you have a nervous phone call coming up, be it with a boss, someone that you're excited to talk to, whatever, is to get moving prior. So I like to often do those phone calls when I'm on a walk outside, or at least be moving around my apartment, preferably if I'd had a conversation shortly before that, so I'm in the mode of communicating. It helps a ton. And I think that there's a lot to this two-way street between the way that you feel and the way that you move your body. I watched this the first time. He is so intense compared to Russell Brand in this one.
You know how people negotiate, well, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do this, or oh, let me wait 2 more minutes till I'm ready. There's none of that shit with me. For decades, I go, I say, we do. I'm not here to discuss this shit with my mind. There's mind, and then there's soul and spirit. And soul and spirit, my soul f***ing knows. And when I say jump, you f***ing jump.
So I think that this is really useful information, this idea of no discussion, we're going to do this thing that I've pre-resolved to do, I'm going to stick to my commitments. There's a lot of value in that for a lot of people at various points in their life, but I will say this is something that I don't totally disagree with. If you're a type A person and you've got this and you've internalized, you got to go, 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 I actually think getting in touch with the part of you that doesn't want to do the thing and finding out what's going on in that emotional area where you don't want to jump in the cold plunge, or you're not committed to optimizing every area of your life, that part needs to be listened to. Not because it's a complainer or it's dragging you down, but because it also often has some very, very important things for you to hear. You want to come back now? Make a decision.
What makes you hate yourself? Is it the red shoes?
What?
Is it the red shoes?
No.
Are you sure? Because they're f***ing red. You smile like that too much, you don't want to stick around. You've been so hard on yourself. I love that you have such high standards. But those aren't high standards, that's called perfection. And most people overestimate what they can do in a year.
So I think what's actually fascinating about this clip is there's almost a hypnotic sense to what is happening here. So look into it. I think a lot of people believe that hypnotism is fake when they see it on stage. It is not. You can induce people into trances, they become more suggestible, and you can use that to help them do all sorts of things. If Tony had come up to him and said all of this to him in a different setting, without that sort of preamble, that warm up to that heightened suggestibility, there's nothing about these words that is necessarily going to break through that guy's defense mechanism. And I think what Tony Robbins events do extremely well is they take people out of their comfort zone, they get them moving around, and it puts them into a state where they are open to change. And quite frankly, this is what all of the best organizations at creating change do to people. In one way or another, they put them in a state where they're receptive to change. If you look at boot camp, they keep you extremely tired. That is not an accident. It's not because they just don't want you to sleep. It's because that is what enables them to, as they say, break you down and build you back up into a soldier.
A decision is the first step. Decision is like a war. I gotta do this or that. All right, I'm gonna make myself do this. But commitment is when you now, after you've decided, you commit to do this for the long term. Whether it's hard or easy, doesn't matter. You're doing this. It takes it from this moment and it carries it into the future even when things are difficult.
So I don't know if he's going to say it here, but one thing that he said, gosh, I don't know, it must have been 8 to 10 years ago, that stuck with me and really affected me was never leave the site of a decision without doing something that carries you forward to the next time. So oftentimes I'd find that I resolved to, at that time in my life, it was go to the gym more or eat healthy or whatever it was, and I'd have these frequent moments of inspiration. but they wouldn't stick. And that one idea that, okay, as soon as I make this decision, what I need to do right now is, for instance, if I'm going to eat better, I have to go to my kitchen and throw out all the junk food right now. Whatever it was that I could do to commit myself for, hey, lady, it's okay. Whatever I could do to commit myself forward counted for a ton at that time. It's okay, lady.
The only thing that changes your life is making a decision. So while you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions. You don't.
I'm going to interrupt right now. My dog has come to say hello. She's pretty sad right now. Listen to Tony Robbins' voice.
While you're in this passionate state, that's where you make decisions.
Man. So one habit that I don't think he's going to say outright, but I know he's practiced, is the way that you speak. My gosh, if you're going to do as much public speaking as Tony Robbins does, you need to learn to speak from your diaphragm. If you want to find out, there's basic singing lessons. I can link to a video, but if you're speaking primarily and it feels like you're speaking from your throat, you will chew up your vocal cords. And if you listen to Tony's voice over the course of his life, it has deteriorated greatly. So just to keep in mind, one thing that you absolutely need to do if you're going to be doing a lot of public speaking, look into basic singing lessons, look into speaking from your diaphragm. I'll show you the difference real quick. And now when I speak from this, you can hear that my voice is naturally lower versus when I start speaking up here, which is my natural voice sometimes if I haven't done these practices, and I can do this for short periods of time, as can everybody, you'll start to chew up your vocal cords. It's something that he's done. I know he regrets it, so keep that in mind.
I'm not here because I believe in positive thinking. If you think that's what I believe, you don't know much about me. I'm not one of those people that believes you're supposed to go to your garden and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds.
Yeah, so this is one that I've gone back and forth on in my life, but I'm in agreement. I think that positive thinking shouldn't be thrown out the window. But quite frankly, I think that people that all the time feel like they have to say the most positive thing, do the most positive thing, do their gratitude exercises all the time, that stuff has a place. But what it sometimes stops you from doing is investigating some of the things that are consistently frustrating, annoying, and upsetting to you, and what you put on top of it. And I think sometimes Tony's stuff can be a little bit guilty of this, can be a thin veil of positivity. And so yeah, I'm 100% about being real with the problems in your life, and I think that makes a ton of sense.
I should work harder. I should make more calls. I should. You know what? People don't do their shoulds, and they get mad at themselves, and they what I call should all over themselves. They beat themselves up about it. What changes people is when your should becomes a must.
I agree, and this is a big one. I'll give him credit. This might be one of the number one, or at least the top things. 100% agree. Now, I think he's going to elaborate here on how to do this. Let's see.
It's like if you want to take the island and you're the head of the army and you want to take the island, the most powerful way to take the island is burn the boats. Because if there's no way to go back, it's amazing what happens when it's a must.
If you're a younger person and you're in your 20s or at any point in your life where you're trying to build something, this is fantastic, fantastic advice. But if you're at a point where you have been a type A achiever for some time, I don't necessarily think that raising your standards is the answer. No, I think there's an interesting tension between this very Western ideal of like achieve, you have to go get it, and how does that blend with this Eastern philosophy of allow life to come your way, recognize that ultimately you cannot control things, and if you try to control the world around you, you're really just going to let your emotions be dictated by things outside of your control, because you will never be able to one-to-one mold the world the way that you think it ought to be, no matter how high your standards are. So I hope that has been helpful, a handful of habits for you to change your life. And as you kind of saw in this, there's a handful of points where I am not 100% in agreement. Not to say that Tony stuff is bad. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've recommended it to tons of people. I've sent family members to his events. But I think there's something to acknowledging and exploring your emotional reality, especially if you're a type A person that raised your standards and doesn't accept no for an answer, and it's go, go, go. What are you going to achieve? What's next? What's bigger? I find that in my own life, that has caused me to move the goalposts of happiness such that my standards are rising. I'm achieving at a higher level. I've got everything on the outside going the way that I want it to, but the internal state of how much happiness am I experiencing or joy hasn't necessarily changed. And if I'm honest, when I've been in that state, what's been driving me is anxiety. What's been driving me is a fear that I need to do more and more and more. So with that in mind, the part of the reason that I have been gone, and quite frankly, the whole reason that I've been gone, is because I've spent the last several months redoing the emotional mastery course that I had before, which was intended to sort of approach this problem and start to find a different way of handling things rather than achieve. And the idea of the course, redone completely, I'm extremely proud of it, is that it's a 24-day course to help you feel more positive emotions and be less controlled by those negative ones. And again, it's not just the positive thinking, it's not about avoiding it in 90 seconds to changing it. It really is about going into it, finding some of the root causes of feelings that you might not even be acknowledging, addressing subconscious drivers that are controlling you, limiting you in your life, and getting them out of the way. So I'm extremely proud of this course. It's not necessarily one that I think fits with what most people are looking for, but it is the one that I think has the most positive impact, at least that I am capable of creating. So if you want to check that course out, it is up live now. If you had previously joined Emotional Mastery, it's completely included. The update is 100% new. All 24 days are brand new. The old stuff is still there as well. So I hope that you decide to check Emotional Mastery out. Like I said, I'm super proud of it. It comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, and I hope to see you on the inside. Either way, I'm back. You'll probably see me a little bit more on the channel. I have appreciated Ben filling in for me in the meantime. Either way, hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.